In this video, I'm going to give you the crash course on how to edit videos with Capcut. This is Capcut as of August 2025, so things might have changed slightly if you're watching later on, but this is a 10-minute crash course into getting started with Capcut, and I'm going to take you through it step by step, so it's dead easy for you to get started. So let's jump over to my screen share now, and notice that I've got Capcut, and it's actually the pro version. So I've upgraded to the pro version. I think pretty much most things now are forcing you down the pro route, so expect that that's the case. The first thing I'm going to do then is press create project in the top left. I'm going to need to drag some file in there. So I've got a video that I was editing. If you've watched the Descript video, you'll see that I've got this one as well. It's the same video, and I've just added that video now into this media library. So I could have browsed for the file if I wanted to, but I just dragged and dropped it into here, so it already knows what it is. And then I'm just going to drag that into the timeline. Again, I can drag and drop in the timeline if I want to, or I can press the plus button and it will just add it to the track. I noticed that Capcut here calls it adding it to the track. I call this a timeline at the bottom. It's referred to as a timeline in most editors. And on that timeline, you get the option to see exactly what's going on. What I really like about Capcut is you can see the audio here and you can see the video as well. So I can just see that there's a bit of a waveform thing going on that audio. Notice if I go to the left hand side where this track is, I can just make this bigger if I want to. I sometimes do that just to make it a little bit easier to see where the audio is, but there's my audio, and that's probably where I'm starting in this video, you know, the standard sort of YouTube starting point. So let's just check that out. In this video, I'm going to take, okay, just as I expected there. This thing here is called the playhead, so we need to be aware that that's called the playhead. I'm just going to drop it there, and there's a couple of things that are unique to Capcut that I really like. I can drag this part of the timeline to this top, and it will click almost magnetically to where the playhead is there, and that's a really nice way to trim that clip if I want to. But there's also this really nice thing here, delete left, and it's got a shortcut character of Q, and it means everything to the left of the playhead I'm going to delete. So I'm going to click that now. Look at that, it's magnetically gone back to the start. And my playhead now, if I press spacebar, which is pretty standard across all editing software, it will start playing the clip. In this video, I'm going to tell you... Okay, perfect. And then there's other things I can do. So I can see there's a gap here, just a bit of space that I've got. So I can go to that playhead, and then I can hit this button here, which is split. It splits the clip into two. If I move the playhead out of the way, I can see there's two separate clips here. And again, I could drag and drop that clip just to get rid of the space that's there. I would usually listen to it to be able to see what that space is. Or I can take the playhead to where it starts. So let's take a... Okay, I'm going to zoom in on that. If you're not sure about zooming in, I can use this little thing here on the right hand side, which lets me zoom into the play. Or I can pinch and on my MacBook Pro, I can pinch with 2 fingers. So you can do that to zoom in and out. And then again, I can use Q. What's going to happen is it's going to delete to the left up until that slice, that bit of that slice. So if I do that, you'll see that the rest is still there, but it's gone, right? And the thing is, you should learn these shortcut keys. So I've got Command and B on a MacBook is where I can do split. So if I come to here, I could do Command and B there, and then I've got some space. And look, you can imagine there's probably a delete to the right as well. I can see delete to the right there, W. So I can press W, and it's going to delete to the right and bring everything together. So this is a really super quick way to go through and edit your video and get rid of those things, the mistakes and any dead space, millennium pauses, all of that kind of stuff that you've got in there. You can go and do that using these shortcut keys. Look, I've got my end in here. Let's listen to that. See you next time. Bye-bye. There you go. I say see you next time. So I'm going to drag the ending up and use that way of trimming things up there. So really nice and simple way to edit the timeline. Nothing crazy going on. A few just little things that I should point out here whilst we're in this editor. It looks a little bit different to Descript or Premiere Pro. We've got a few options at the top here: audio, text, stickers, all the kind of things that will add some interest to your videos. We've also got, if I click on the video file, I can see on the right hand side I've got this properties panel here where I can do some really simple good stuff. So let's say adjustment, for example. If I click on my face here, I usually do this at the start of the video. If I'm editing, I'll go to adjust, and then I'll click on this auto adjust button, and it just changes the look and feel. It changes the look of my video. Actually, it looks a little bit too overexposed when I'm doing that, so I'll probably take the exposure down a little bit, maybe modify the contrast here and there. But there's things I can do there as well to change the colors. But auto just generally, if you're using a good camera, it will get a good look and feel just by using that auto adjust. So that's one of the nice things. I can change the speed if I want to speed things up. If I was doing some kind of demonstration, I've got an audio section again. We've got reduced noise if you was outside. We've got normalized loudness if the voice changes, if the sound changes, the audio changes. A few other things that are available there to us as well. Some of those being pro features also. And then there's other things I can do, like remove the background. So you've got remove background. Some of these features that are just available here in Capcut are what makes Capcut one of the most powerful tools that you can use. So it's a really good idea to take a look at some of these and see what you can do with them. We don't have time to go through all of them in this tutorial really, but I just want you to know they're there and they exist. Oh, and then we should talk about captions briefly as well. So if I click on captions, I think most videos now want some kind of captions on there. So I'm going to click on captions in the top left hand side, and it tells me that it's got auto captions. So I click on generate there. It takes a little bit of time, but not too long, probably about 20-30 seconds to generate the captions for like a 10-minute video. Obviously you can adjust that as time goes on, but you don't adjust it too much. It's a fairly quick process, generally speaking. It's almost done now. Once we've got that captions layer, we can then apply our own styles to those captions, and it's dead easy. Capcut comes with a whole bunch of templates that you can use for your captions, so you don't have to be an artist. You can just decide, yes, this is what I want to do. I did enable identify filler words, so it will do that for me, and I can remove them using this tool as well, just like I did in Descript if you watch that video. I'll just cancel that. I don't actually need it to identify those filler words at this point. So here's my captions. I just wanted to show you the templates that are available. So if I go to text in the properties pane on the right hand side, I can go to templates here. I can choose one of the caption templates. These are there's probably more interesting templates here than any other tool that I've seen. So if I watch this now, last week, and I'm going to show you some nice little templates you've got. You've got Hormozy style in here as well. You've got some in this video I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. Simple styles. In this video I'm going to tell you exactly what happens if you... There you go. So loads of different styles there. You can pick the template that you prefer, and then you've got yourself some captions in there. Of course, we can do some really smart stuff as well. We can change the language that's being spoken. That uses AI to be able to do that. And I don't think there's much else I want to show you without going into detail. This is, remember, just a 10-minute tutorial. So if we go into too much detail, we'll definitely surpass those 10 minutes. One of the nice things that Capcut has as well is just some of these transitions. Just a little word of warning when it comes to transitions. People can overdo transitions, but if you were creating short form content, it's definitely a good idea to have some of these interesting transition and trending transitions and things that you've got here. So if you go to effects and transitions, you'll find these different effects and transitions, and there's, like I say, a whole bunch of them in there. I'm just going to take one of my clips and just split it up. So I've got a small clip here just to see what happens. But if you hover over one of these effects, you'll see what happens to the clip. Take a look at the results first then. If we jump into my analytics, you can see that tracking shot that's just been applied there. Again, if I just my analytics, split this up, I'm going to take this clip here, add a blur. Look at the results first then. If we jump into my analytics, yeah, so you can imagine if you go through these, you'll find a whole bunch of different effects that you can add, that if you combine them in the right way, so let's take a look at your videos really interesting, right? This is how you can grab people's attention and keep their attention by adding some of the effects. But just remember that word of warning. Don't overdo it. It can be overdone. Use it sparingly or appropriately is probably the best way to describe it. The transitions that I talked about, if we find a place where we're transitioning, okay, so here's a nice transition point here, somewhere here. I actually use a switcher to make this transition, but I might want to make it so the transition is quite a nice effect. So I can go to transitions, I can check out some of the transitions that are there and just add them to the clip. So now if you watch what happens when I move to my screen share, into my analytics. Did you see that little transition? My analytics. There you go. So it's much better than the original one that was there, which was just a kind of cross dissolve. I can do a whole bunch of different versions. Let's take that scribble one. I quite like that. Let's see what happens with this one. Jump into my analytics. There you go. There's quite a nice little transition. So when you're thinking about the style that you want for your video, you can pay attention to the caption style that you've got there. If you want to add captions, usually you would do that on a short form piece of content, but you also might want to have a certain style when you're creating the long form as well, and using some of these effects to be able to create that style. I think in terms of creativity and the ease of use of creativity, I think Capcut's one of the best tools available to be able to do that. You can do a lot in Descript, but it's fairly straightforward. You can do a lot in things like iMovie, but it's very much like Filmora or some of the other editing tools that make super simple transitions and effects happen without making it too difficult, like you would get if you went to Final Cut or to Adobe Premiere Pro or something like that. It feels just like a nice, easy, straightforward thing to use compared to those tools. Now, if you're just getting started, I know that's a relative term. If you're just getting started, it might feel like it's very difficult at the start, but hopefully this 10-minute tutorial has helped you just break through some of the, oh my God, this sounds really super scary. Actually, hopefully you should feel like, yes, I can do that. I can give it a go. I can follow Matt's tutorial and away we go. And I'll do an advanced version of this later on. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and check back to see when that's live. All right, my name's Matt Hughes, King of Video. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.